It is reported today from El Salvador that 4 Americans have been killed there.
This was the first time that Americans seemed to have been singled out by a death squad. They were shot execution style, bullets to the back of the head.
Later, their bodies were found in a shallow grave.
Apparently victims of a terrorist attack.
That was a wake-up call. There was a great outcry.
But El Salvador continues to be plagued by human rights abuses.
The kind of violence that turns the stomach.
Of course, the families totally believed that the U.S. government would do whatever was necessary.
Humble and quiet, Father Carlos Quinjano remembers Blessed Oscar Romero this way, except when the Archbishop took to the pulpit.
Everyone knew that Bishop Romero was a target man, especially after his homily that the Sunday before.
Debe de prevalecer la ley de Dios que dice no matar.
An order directly to the Salvadoran military, one unheeded. A week later, they killed him.
Well, another evening has come upon us. Thank you for clicking on this video. Don't forget to drop a comment, hit the like, share this video, and hopefully today's the day I've earned your subscription. We really do appreciate it on there. Do hit that whether you're on YouTube or on Rumble. We're trying to push up on there. YouTube is playing with these games with us right now, and it's the slow season on top of that. But I want to start off with this immediately. Back in my youth, back when I was just getting out of trade school and for broadcast television. And one of the first jobs I had, and I probably talked about this too, I was working for a production house that did editing and duplication. And we're talking mass duplication. And on the side, they bought out a video rental company upstate onto that. I forgot the name of the video company itself. But basically, what their main job was that they mass duplicated a lot of movies. They handled a lot of companies, from the martial art films at Saturn Productions to the classic films of Crown to the adult porn industry. And also this one particular company that most people don't really know about too much unless you know the business very well, if you know HBO very well. It was called Hemdale. I think it's no longer in existence. It's called Hemdale Film Corporation. Its library is now part of a split between Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, with some exceptions, and Columbia TriStar Home Video, which probably has been reverted as well. And this is where I got to see a couple of films, back then in the early days in itself. Sean Penn's At Close Range, the sequel with Christopher Lee of Howling 2, Your Sister is a Werewolf, which originally it was just Howling 2. We never had Your Sister is a Werewolf. That was added later on. And of course, one of my favorite films on there of zombie flicks, The Return of the Living Dead. Yes, I got to see The Return of the Living Dead for the first time working in a production house. And it was kind of creepy because, I worked the overnight shift. So having that on the overnight shift itself was strange in itself. And there was another film with Rutger Hauer, Breed Apart, which was a very strange movie on there with Kathleen Turner and Rutger Hauer and Powers Booth. Another decent film onto there. But there was another film that basically it is not looked well. This movie's had Oscar nominations. It's directed by one of the top directors and written by him as well. And that's Oliver Stone. And it had some really good actors in the movie with James Woods, Jim Belushi, Michael Murphy, John Savage, and Pia Carlillo. If you don't remember her, she's in Predator. Cynthia Gibb. This happens to be a fantastic movie. It didn't do too well in the box office because it was underrated and people did not want to see something about this at this time period. And it was concerning about the times in El Salvador. If you're someone who grew up in my generation, El Salvador was not a peaceful place. It was basically a war zone. Because people think it's still a war zone today. No, nothing compared to what it was in the past. When you're dealing with the rebels and when you're dealing with the military, whoever was in charge at the time. Now, another writer that was on there with Oliver Stone was a correspondent. He was a journalist, photographer, Richard David Boyle. And this movie in itself, it's fictional in certain ways, but a part of it is written from his experience in that war zone. Now, the movie I'm talking about is called, obviously, Salvador. Now, the reason why we're bringing this up is Salvador is getting a 4K release, a remaster 4K release, which was going to be released on September 2nd. So it's coming up. And I'll tell you, this one is worth for your collection. It is a fantastic movie. It tells a great story, even though some of it is fictionalized. But the items that are not fictionalized is some of the events that happen. If you're not familiar with that, is that this was during the Salvadorian Civil War. And, because it was also a right-wing military dictatorship was going on as well. I mean, the country was in chaos. It was in chaos. And there were several major stories that came out of this situation that was going on there. The first is the murder of 4 American Catholic missionaries, including Jean Donovan. I mean, they were murdered. To this day, we don't know who did this murder. It was horrific. It was on the front page of newspapers here in the U.S. The second was the assassination of Archbishop Oscar Romero by the death squads on there. Now, the thing is, there's a second movie. It's not by Oliver Stone. Raul Julia made a film depicting the story of Archbishop Romero, called Romero, and that's also, I think that's available out there as well. Now, this movie was nominated to, like I said, 2 Academy Awards. Best Actor, James Woods. Best Writing, which is Oliver Stone and Richard Boyle. Now, the main plot of this movie is basically, I'll give you a quick synopsis. Veteran photojournalist Richard Boyle, whose career has been derailed by substance abuse and arrogance, finds himself broke and abandoned by his wife. Desperate for work, he convinces his friend Doc Rock, an unemployed disc jockey, to join him on a trip to El Salvador, where he hopes to cover the country's civil war as a freelancer. Upon arrival, they witness the violent suppression of student protests and briefly detained by the military, only spared after Boyle invokes an old connection to a right-wing Colonel Figueroa. They learn that the far-right Arena Party, backed by the United States, now controls the country. Boyle reconnects with a fellow photojournalist, John Cassidy, as well as his old friend and Catholic aid worker, Kathy Moore. He begins documenting the regime's atrocities, including mass graves and disappearances. He also reunites with his former lover, Maria, and rekindle their relationship, while Rock befriends Maria's 15-year-old brother, Carlos. After Carlos loudly makes fun of Major Max, an arena leader at a restaurant, he is abducted by local authorities. Boyle's appeal to the American embassy to intervene and rejected, and he and Maria personally witnessed the assassination of Archbishop Romero during Mass. I mean, this is something you want to catch. It is really good. Jim Belushi plays Doc Rock on there, and John Savage. I mean, there are parts of this. Like I said, there are characters. For example, I believe the John Savage character is fictionalized into this point, and a couple of the other characters on in the Maria part. Now, note, this movie was mostly filmed in Mexico for the reason of what was going on at the time in Salvador. I mean, you had, the film's consultant, which was Army spokesman Lieutenant Colonel Ricardo Cienfuegos. He was assassinated on a tennis court by communist rebels. In Stone's production notes, he wrote that he believed that the killing signal that El Salvador was entering into a new period when the hardline Marxist element decided to engage in urban terrorism. And that was what was going on at that time period. You know, people will tell you that, it's harsh now. It's hard, because of the imprisonment of the gangs and stuff like that. No, nothing compared to what was going on at the time in the time period when this was going on. The critical response, I mean, this holds as of September of 2022, Salvador, it holds a 90% on the Rotten Tomatoes. Based on, I think it was 29 reviews. It's average 7.7 out of 10 on its consensus. Roger Ebert liked the movie, gave it 3 stars out of 4. Basically, Walter Goodman wrote an unfavorable of the New York Times, arguing that the film that it's an adventure film, has plenty of speed, grit, and grime, and depicts the probability of people doing implausible things. I mean, like I said, this is a situation that was going on at that time period. Now, what do you expect from this new 4K restoration? Well, of course, obviously the 4K restoration from the original camera negative, Dolby Vision HDR presentation of the film, new optional English subtitles newly translated for the release, new audio commentary with film critic James Mudge. It has a second disc, which is a 4K restoration from the original negative also as well. Option English subtitles, newly translated theatrical trailer. I mean, this was a good film. I did enjoy this. I think this is Shout. Shout is putting this out. If you want to see a good performance from James Woods, this is the movie to catch. It is really good. I watched it I tell you, when I was in the production business, I watched this a numerous amount of times. And, because sometimes when you're working on the overnight and you got everything running properly and you've done all your checks, what you do is sit back and watch a little bit of the movie. Because most of the time you have to monitor the movie monitors to make sure everything is running okay. Now, the budget on this was like $4.5 million. It only made $1.5 in the box office itself. It didn't do too well in the box office. And that's total in the United States alone. But like I said, this was up for Oscars. It is a good movie itself. You don't hear too many movies that didn't do good in the box office, but they were Oscar nominated. I mean, this is an explosive picture. It's truly explosive, especially the portions that are actual events that happen in El Salvador in this time period. It was a very, like I said, it was a very dangerous place to be. I mean, they filmed this mostly in Mexico, obviously. Because all these situations, I mean, you've had people disappear, murdered, just for the, saying the wrong things at some of the occasions. The Catholic Church was attacked upon it, but and you're talking about Marxist rebels that are doing on that, and then you have the military dictatorship that was going on at the same time. So let me know in the comments below. Have you seen this movie before? Because I'm getting it on 4K. I mean, hopefully the print will be very good. It is like I said, it is a good movie. Now, if you can't wait for the 4K release, you can watch the original Blu-ray release on Tubi TV and Pluto TV for free. That you can watch it there, and I would suggest you go catch it. Like I said, it is a good movie, well worth the watch. So let me know in the comments. Tell me on there. Don't forget to hit the subscribe, like, share, and we really do appreciate if you hit that subscribe. Just get us there. Now, for those of you watching this exactly around 10:30, 10:45 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday night, stay tuned. Don't go anywhere, because I'm going to be switching you over to Sci-Fi Snob's channel. It is Wednesday night, of course, every Wednesday night, 11 p.m. Eastern, here on YouTube. If those of you are on Rumble, you're going to have to come over to YouTube, because he doesn't broadcast this on Rumble as of yet, but we're going to try to get that over there to you eventually. I'm going to have to ask him. So let's get some Rumble in there. But, like I said, it's one thing at a time. But hang in there. Babylon 5 Retrospective. We're going with episode 6. Spider in the Web will be discussed this evening with the panelists. So, like I said, hang in there. Stay tuned. If you're watching this later on, you can hit in the description on there will also the link which will lead you to replay of the live stream. It is live stream. If you're watching this time, you can go over. If you're linked over, be sure drop a chat in there. Let them know you've just come over from this video. Let them know you're rating the Babylon 5 retrospective on there from CutyCast TV. So until next time, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you on the next video. Stay tuned for Babylon 5's retrospective over on Sci-Fi's channel, coming up next right here on YouTube. And have a good day, good night, and have a good weekend. Bye-bye now.
Whatever you do, okay? Don't get on the ground.